daily ritual with that face cream because it's really bringing out the colour of your eyes. It's working, mate. It's really working. So, well done. So keep up that night cream regime because it seems to be doing the job. How are you anyway?
It works.
Good.
Evening.
Evening. Sorry, I haven't been about for the last couple of weeks. I literally, I've had 5 weeks where I had like flu, COVID, whatever the fuck it was, and then a week's gap, and then flu, COVID, whatever it was. I've still got the chest and the sore throat from it, but like we've got to do a show because I've had loads of people like, why has there been no show? Why are you not doing this? Why are you doing it? I've been ill. So we are back. Bear with me, coughing and clearing my throat, but we are back, and we will be back every Monday. Do you know what? I don't know what it is about this camera. I've got a new camera, and when I'm sat back here, I just look like a sweaty potato.
Also freezes a lot.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
sound is still okay, but you tend to sort of freeze mid-motion.
Let me see for what it'll do with the old camera. Let's have a look. Just bear with me.
Excuse me.
That's that camera. That's very dark. Let's put that on that.
Oh yes, I think you need a light on there.
Now let's put the other camera back on. Yeah, that's much better. And we'll take it off standard and put it on full HD, which it wouldn't let me do before. Okay. Well, there you go. And I'm wobbly as hell, so I'm really sorry. It's because I tried to put it on the end of the bed, but the end of the bed, the TV goes, and this cat has tried to switch it on lots of times. Haven't you, Leela? Yes. So we've got it down. I'm trying to remain still. Ghost is fine. Everybody, all of Ghost's fans. She is fine. She is downstairs with the other pooch, and she's doing well. We're trying to get her weight put back on her. Hi, Noreen, and very belated happy birthday to you. I hope it was a very good one. And what was it? Was it 30 again, 20 again? What was it? Did you get drunk? Did you do Mario Kart or anything? You know. Anyway. I bet everybody's missed us, especially my gob. Let's get straight into it. Atlas 3i, Oumuamua, and Swan. What do we all make of it? Because the last show I did was about that, and there's so many bullshitters and drama queens, and oh my god, it's gonna go and end the earth. Oh my god, no, shut up. It's obviously. There's something going on there because it's been intelligently moved and stuff. But let's get my friend to say.
Oh, we're not supposed to ask your age, Noreen.
So you were 50 again.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, there's a lot of stuff going out there, and I think you've got what is possibly a Project Blue beam thing going on.
Yeah, that.
I mean, I saw a video on social media today where somebody was saying about all these communication satellites, the second they were being turned to look at Atlas 3i or 3i Atlas, it was destroying those satellites.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so how's it supposed to be doing that? Because apparently now it's behind the sun.
Yeah.
Meaning, if it's behind the sun, we're one side and 3i Atlas is the other side. So how is it able to destroy satellites from the other side of the sun?
It's November that it gets behind the sun. It shouldn't be dead yet.
But it's nowhere near us.
No.
And communication satellites wouldn't be that far out in space.
No, the only things we've got that far out in space are fucking wobble is Voyager. No, Voyager 1's left the system. Voyager 2's still there, but near the edge of the start of their solar system.
Oh, no. Apparently, it's going to take another 32,000 years for Voyager to leave our solar system, even though it's already left.
What?
That was another video that was on social media today. Voyager 1 is still 32,000 years away from leaving our solar system. I'm like, no, that's already left.
I'm just going to try and find a hat or a baseball cap to try and put on because of my shiny bald head. Carry on.
And I think, it's like we've always been saying, for every bit of truth there is on social media, it gets snowballed with thousands of lies and bent truths that you're never really actually going to get to know the real truth. I mean, we're supposed to, I think it's something like November, we're supposed to be able to see 3i Atlas without the use of a telescope. Which will be pretty spectacular, but still, it would still be millions of miles away and too far away for it to affect any communication satellites. So straight away, it's already being passed off as a load of codswallop. And it doesn't hold any water, what they're saying. I'm more in trying to believe the fact that it's got light facing the wrong way, or the tail is facing the wrong way. Anybody that knows astrophysics knows full well that as a comet or a meteorite falls through space, the tail goes from the opposite way of entry. And as it's heading towards the sun, the tail should be behind it, and it's not. The tail keeps chopping and changing from front to back, and it's like someone described it as a set of headlights. It's as if they're trying to see their way in the dark, and they've got the headlights on. I think we'd be in trouble if they ever put their full beam on. But yeah, and then there's obviously the so-called composition of the materials on the comet itself don't make sense whatsoever, because the only way these materials could be there is through a process.
Yeah.
And we would class it as a man-made process here on Earth, but we're talking about in outer space. So an intelligent life had to have processed those materials to make them what they are now. They don't just happen naturally. So and the light's coming off it as well. It's another thing. There's lights emitting from this object. So there's a lot of things there that are sort of saying, hang on a minute.
Well, there's also supposed to be, they've discovered it's got a nickel core. Now, how can I've got one thing to say about how can our satellites that take photos of fucking potatoes, if their cameras, like the multi-billion pound cameras that they've got on board these things, if you can only film it as a potato, and the ones that are filmed it as really, really good, you've suddenly lost all the pictures or not said anything about it. How can you discover it's a nickel core if you've got the best high-end cameras and all you can do is it's a potato? So how do you know it's a nickel core? How have you been following it to know that the tail has changed? Which, well, I suppose you can see it with that, but how do you know it's been intelligently moved out the path of debris? How do you know it's core? How do you know it's got an atmosphere? And how have you been able to measure all the metals that are supposed to be in this atmosphere? But we have cameras that take pictures of potatoes.
And the thing is that they look at it and they go, oh, it's changing course. And there's only two things that could make it change course, and that's an impact or gravitational pull from another planet or another moon nearby.
Or intelligently steered.
well, the obvious one would be it's intelligently steered. So apart from it being steering itself, those are the only two reasons why it would ever course change. So something's not right with it. I push aside the things like the thousands of objects around it, because if it's come through an asteroid field, it's going to attract other rocks and stuff that's in the asteroid field. Also, there was a coronal mass ejection from the sun that went in that direction.
Sorry, I had a bad curry. Oh,
that kicked off another load of what could it have been.
Yeah.
And I can remember seeing someone put the video on TikTok saying that it was the sun is being used as the defense platform. And there's an intelligent life within the sun, and it ejected this coronal mass ejection at the 3i Atlas because it was a threat. And as a result, it fragmented. And I'm thinking, right, we're going down the Star Wars path, aren't we?
That is a new one. That's a new one. I've not heard that one.
We've got a Death Star out there. But apparently at the same time that there was these objects seen around 3i Atlas, there was a coronal mass ejection. And someone had actually said that it was heading towards 3i Atlas.
There were quite a few things I read about that, actually, because as you know yourself, when we talk about it, for those of you who are watching, when we talk about this, we don't just talk about it. Like one or both of us will go and properly look into it, so we know what we're talking about. And I do a lot of dark diving just to corroborate. By dark diving, I don't mean stripping off and jumping into a thing of treacle, because that's mine and Rachel's personal thing, and that's beside the point. But what I do mean is, I go dark diving. So when we come and present you with all this, it's stuff that we've read or also watched or whatever. It's not. Don't mind me. It's stuff that we've know about. My thing with that is the stories and the theories that are out there. There are so many fearmongers trying to say, oh, they're coming to us, they're coming to us, they're gonna this, they're coming that. But we all know that you've got bobberment agencies out there that are spreading disinformation. They've even got some very famous YouTubers and TikTokers under their belt and in their pocket to spread disinformation, because they make a decent way for this. So you've got them all saying there's aliens. First time I said that for one. On their way, and this, that, and the fucking other. But the majority of us know about Project Bluebeam, which, for those of you who don't know what Project Bluebeam is a fake alien invasion that's going to unite all the world's governments, and it's going to be done by the top holographic software and machinery that we've got. We're basically going to see these things in the skies, in the streets, and you're just going to think it's real and it's actually there.
Yeah, I think the thing is, though, with Project Bluebeam, the idea is to try and get everybody to conform with the same way of thinking. And I think they're trying every measure they can to try and sort of get people fearful enough to fall into their way of thinking. And in some aspects,
government together, we will protect you. We'll be a one world government. We'll protect you.
And in some aspects, it is working, because there are people out there that do think 3i Atlas is aliens and it's coming here, regardless of whether they're good or bad. And these people are turning to religion as a way out.
Yeah.
You can guarantee there's thousands of people out there that are going, oh my God, this is coming. And then they go back to the way they were. And this is the problem. And it always will be the problem when you've got a control system in place. You need to keep control, so you'll go to whatever measures necessary to try and keep it there.
Yeah.
And as we've said before, information gets put out there, but then other information gets put out that may quash the first lot of information and make that one look more feasible than the other one, because they make them look so convincing. And when you've got, like Wayne has said, it's a lot of stuff going on now that shouldn't be able to go through, but it still does. And when you've got all of this going on, you're confusing the people when you try to talk about what's going on, and the truth just gets missed out of place and gets pushed out.
Yeah, just curveball. Yeah, to be absolutely honest, there's so much nonsense and bullshit and disinformation. You just don't know what's going on out there. But for the Project Blue being supposed to have been carrying on from Project Blue Book, which never happened, but it did, and then it got turned into something else, and then it got turned into something else, and then it got turned into something else, and so on and so on and so forth. Like the UFO that's too big to take off that's landed on our planet, that's been found, but apparently it's been found in 6 million different places. You know, so yeah, just bear with me there. One world government would be worse than aliens, and yeah, see, my way of thinking with that is, it would if you've got like the idiots we have in charge of the governments at the moment, because they're all corrupt as anything. You know, they're all corrupt, every single bloody one of them. But if there really is people out there that come down there and want, like, and they're going to be like, we'd like you to be part of the Galactic Alliance. You have to be like a one world government. But if you're going to be part of the Galactic Alliance, we'll have our own people in there to make sure it's fair play. There's no corruption, this, that, and the other. You know, like you see on Star Trek and shit like that. I think that could actually work and be a good thing. But a one world government that's run by the egos and the idiots that we have currently running the world, no, because all that'll do is just rape the world of everything. So, So yeah. Anyway, what do you make of this then? But like Swan is supposed to be making its way straight to 3i Atlas.
Yes, that was supposed to be following it. So again, the rumor mill was that the Swan meal was heading the same way, and it was supposedly catching up to 3i Atlas.
That's right, yeah. It's supposed to be meeting at an intercept point, isn't it?
Yeah, and then obviously the rumor mill started going around. Some of it was chasing after 3i Atlas, and others were saying it's backup. So, you know, make of it what you will. You know, at the end of the day, again, it's what people are putting onto social media, and it's how you decipher that information, whether you believe that information. And if you don't, then that's all fine and dandy. But if you do, that's where the problem starts. Because if you believe everything people say on social media, that's where the problem lies.
You know yourself, like most people on social media talk absolute crap just to get the views, just to get the likes, just to get the people to hear them. But unfortunately, when you get people like that, like Huff Paranormal, you know, when they come out with all this, I've just spoken to blah, and they get all the followers that it doesn't matter what you say to them, they will not believe that the guy's an absolute And there's lots of other people like that on social media, you know. And one thing I will say about this, our show is whenever we talk and we spit facts and we talk about all this stuff, there's people out there who think we're absolutely full of shit. But everything that we say, we've already researched it and it's out there in the public domain for everybody to find out for themselves. We're not bullshit asses or scaremongers or anything like that. We're talking about what's in now, what's being spoken about now, what's on the dark web, what's on the normal web, you know. And we try and separate the chaff from the wheat. What's disinformation, what's government propaganda, what's bullshit and, you know, scaremongering, and what's actually really there, you know. I think there is something odd in the fact that you had Oumuamua, and then you've got 3i, and then you've got Swan. And the thing is, each one's got like 30 times bigger than each one. I think it's each one is when you add up the mass, each one is 30 times bigger than the next. So you had Oumuamua, and you got 3i, which is 30 times bigger than that one, and then you've got Swan, which is 30 times bigger than that. But they've all got the same profile. It's not like any other fucking asteroid or comet you've ever seen. It's the same profile, low, long, sleek. and they all give off energy signals. They all give off an atmosphere signal. They've all been intelligently steered out of the way of space debris and any other things that's coming their way, and they all meet at the Muramura came that way, Three Eyes coming this way, and Swan's coming this way, but they're all kind of meeting at the same point. But as I said, all the most expensive Boberman tech that's up there with all these instruments and all these instruments and this, that, and the other can only take photos of a potato. Bollocks, absolute bollocks, mate. I'm going to call it as it is. Bullshit and bollocks. We all know we're being lied to by the Bobermans of the world. The only ones who've told us, who've come out with the truth, have been Italy, most of South America, sometimes France, which is very strange. And then we had the whole America-England thing. Yes, there is. No, there isn't. Yes, there is. No, there isn't. We've been talking to. No, we haven't. Yes, there is. No, we haven't. Because they're all up each other's asses and just like, fuck off. Don't listen to the major Bobermans. If you want to know the truth about UFOs and aliens and stuff, look on the lower ones like South American, all the little islands. Look on their stuff. They'll show it. Even Australia comes out of it. Yeah, there is, and they've got Pine Gap over there.
Yeah, you know. And the thing is also as well at the moment, NASA and China are keeping quite tight-lipped about Three Eye Atlas.
Yeah.
And China of all people are the ones with the technology for the cameras, and yet they're not even coming out with any high resolution pictures. You know, with NASA and the what's it, the Hubble, not Hubble, the other one, James Webb,
Bubble, trouble. You
know, all the satellites that they've used for their camera imagery.
Yeah,
and the technology that's behind them, and the Chinese ones. I mean, they've still got the Chinese satellites around Mars at the moment, and they've got high resolution cameras on, and yet China is not producing
pictures of it from Mars, didn't they?
Yeah, but since then they have not produced any high resolution images. They've kept quiet about it. Same as NASA. And there was these bits where cameras were pointing in the direction of Three Eye Atlas, and NASA mysteriously cut the feed.
Yeah,
and they claimed there was a technical error, but it happened on a number of times. It happened on a number of occasions where the camera just blanked out, and they were like, "Whoa, hang on a minute, what's going on here?" And then all of a sudden, eventually, it restarted again, and it happens so many times now that they're all standing there going, "Hang on a minute, something ain't right."
Well, I've seen a few of the lives on the NASA ones just because I've been curious about it, and I've seen a few things come up on their lives, and every time anything comes up that's not debris, it's not space debris, it's not space junk, it's not anything from the space lab or anything. It's you can see it's going. The camera goes, "Oh shit," and cuts out, and then it goes, "Oh, there's a technical hitch." Bollocks! Somebody sat back there and go, "Fuck!" Press the button. Do you think it's going to be the end of civilization? No, not at all. I think it's the start.
If, and this is a big if it is intelligent life from somewhere else, then technically, yes, it would be the end of civilization, but not the way we think it would be, or not the way Hollywood, not the way Hollywood would class it.
Their calendar. As we know
if they are coming here, there's going to be technology, there's going to be medicines that would cure illnesses that we know you can already cure, but pharmaceutical companies don't want you having this stuff. So as civilization as we know it will move to the next step, rather than it be the end of civilization as in everybody gone.
Yeah,
I don't think that would be the case. If it was something from outer space with high intelligence, it would be the end of our modern life and a new stage will begin.
Yeah.
But
when they said, when the Mayan calendar stopped and it coincided with COVID coming, and they said it'd be end of life as we know it, and it was right. because it was the end of life as we knew it. We all stayed away from each other. We all had all those fucking masks that did absolutely nothing. We were all told by the Bob, yeah, open your windows, let it come in and hit you and then go back out the window. So we all, like idiots, did that. And then we found out that the first strain of COVID was genetically designed, pre-designed to attack Asian and African cultures. And it was proved. And then they all went, oh, no. And then wondered why there was so many fucking deaths over in Asia and Africa. And then, like, look at it now. Even now, people are still like, as soon as everybody gets, I've had like flu or COVID or whatever twice in 5 weeks. Screws you up. But now it's got to the point you're like, hey, back at work now. And everything's starting to come back to normal, but it'll never be the same as it was. So,
yeah, I mean, my personal view of COVID, I think all they've done is done a flu test. They've figured out a way of you taking a flu test to see almost instantly whether you have caught the flu. Because all the way through COVID, it was you will get flu-like symptoms. So that sort of let the cat out of the bags of what they were trying to do. We now know for a fact that COVID was done on purpose.
It was.
And that
it wasn't accidentally leaked.
There was no reason to take the steps necessary, despite people dying of it. The figures still show that more people died of the flu every year than of COVID. There was still factually based, documented proof that people were dying of other things, and yet their death certificates were recorded as dying of COVID. So, and I personally knew someone that had a heart attack and died of that heart attack, and on their death certificate they died of COVID. And we're like, no, it wasn't. Their heart packed in. And they go, oh, COVID-related illness. Well, no, it wasn't. They had a heart attack. And you're just like, you can't just do it that way. This is what's happened. And
everything was. The thing is everything has reached such. We've plateaued. There's been government crap, Boberman crap, and then it's plateaued. And we've got to the point now as a race and as a species and everything where we've gone, do you know what? No. And it's the old adage, was it you can fool all of the people, some of the people all the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all the time. And it's got to that bit now where everybody's starting to turn around and go, you fucking lied. You've been lying about this, you're lying about that, you're doing it again. Look at the way look at the corruption that's going on over here in the UK with our Boberman, with Starmer and that lot, and it's been proved it's out and out corruption. The whole UK digital ID card is done by what's his fucking face, Tony Blair's son. Tony Blair, when he was Prime Minister, tried to get it introduced because his son was going to be behind it. He's fought, got it brought in, and his son is behind the company that's going to make the card. Oh, I wonder why. When they were trying to, they bopped all the electric. Remember all the electric prices went, and then all of a sudden, oh, you need to buy electric cars. And when you looked into it, the heads of state over here, all the high up ones in the front row benches in the government, they all, or their family or their loved ones, had shares or worked for the companies that did the electricity, generated it, or did the cars that run on electricity.
I mean, you look at Shell. Look at Shell. They knew that it was coming. They knew electric cars or electric automobiles were going to be taking over at some point. The technology still isn't there, because at the moment we're still creating more pollution to make the battery than we are than a fossil fuel car does in its lifetime.
They don't have the range you need anyway.
The electric car still isn't a viable concept. However, it hasn't stopped Shell from investing in renewable energy. It hasn't stopped advertising the fact, and it hasn't stopped them selling more shares to big businessmen on the promise that this renewable energy is going to be the next big thing. But they're looking at the fact that their fossil fuel sales are going to drop. And so they're compensating for that drop by investing heavily in renewable energies and selling that.
The thing that I think they should bring out, and they tried doing it several times, is the hydrogen engine. The only waste you get is fucking water, and you've got to be like doing 200 miles an hour from one engine into another to get the explosion. You can't just have it from a crash. So I bring out hydrogen engines. I ride one of my motorbikes. I ride a BMW, and BMW talk about doing a hydrogen engined bike. Fuck me. You know, and electric ones, as you say, the minerals that they use, they're raping the country. The people that are, the poor bastards that are out there mining the stuff, get treated like shit, paid like crap, you know, and they have to stick to the job because it's all they've got. And then we're over here going, oh yeah. And when you think that a battery can't be put out by water, it has to be left to fucking burn, has to be completely surrounded by water or immersed in water and just let it burn out. The fire brigade, it's the only way you can deal with it.
Exactly. And then there's the chemicals it gives off when it's burning. So good old London Transport, they're sitting there going, oh, we're proud to have electric buses. And look what happens when an electric bus goes up in flames in London. It turns literally the whole area into a fog bank. But again, the undergrounds run on electricity, and there's more pollution down in the underground than there is on the road.
Well, you've got all the legends about the mole people that live in the underground as well, haven't you?
Yeah, the subterranean, the downcasts. They're the ones that society don't want anymore. They all head down there,
and
which is the same as the Paris catacombs.
I know several people that work for TfL. In fact, one of them I'm going to actually message at some point tomorrow and ask them if they can confirm this. But I've been told by several that it's true. They do live down there. There is a community down there, and they're very guarding over their community. They don't like anybody down there, anybody researching it, coming in. And apparently there's stuff that lives down there as well that's nothing to do with them. So, but whether that's real or not, I don't know. And the same as, you know, the video I put up the other day on the show's wall of those lights.
Yes.
Right. In daytime, because I've been up in daytime, when you go up in daytime, there's nothing. There's nothing there. There's a very low hill, and then you've got nothing. And where that thing was, it was the sky.
It looked interesting, and what my first impression of it was, there's an echo. My first impression of it was that it reminded me of a Chinook carrying like a Jeep with its lights on. Well, because you could see this line of lights, and then you could see that little white light underneath it, and it reminded me of a Chinook winching a Jeep.
There was no noise at all, and because I had the windows down on the van, there was no noise. And I thought it was Staxton Wold to start with. I thought it was like the runway lights and like a tower, light. But where I was, Staxton Wold was to my left. The sea on the edge of the cliff was to my right, and this was directly north, straight in front of me.
And that was going from right to left, wasn't it? So it was going from east to west. Yeah,
whatever it was, as I say, it went back up in daytime. In fact, I've got some photos of it somewhere. In daytime, there's nothing there. So whatever it was, I'm not saying it was aliens. I'm just saying it was interesting. Like when I put the post up and that knobhead decided to go, nim, 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 nim. No, dude, listen to what's actually said. I said it's interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting simply because obviously you know what's out there in the daytime. You've seen it, so you know it's not there during the day.
You know,
so there's no tower or something, you know, like I don't know, like a control tower, an airport.
I thought it was a control tower, and then I thought, oh, it might be a radio, you know, radio mast, like the red one. There's nothing there. I've been up.
Well, no, because even then, a radio mast has red beacons.
Yeah.
And depending on how tall it is, we'll have some in the middle, some at the top.
No,
and that's to indicate to aircraft that it's there.
One red light with the flashing lights underneath.
Yeah. And it did look really weird. And I suppose in a way, the flickering can be caused from heat. But again, you're talking nighttime, so the only heat would be from the exhaust of the engine.
It wasn't.
And that wouldn't make all of the lights flicker.
It wasn't. I'm telling you now, what wasn't a Chinook because of the distance. I estimated it to me about 3 miles away, about 3 miles away, I think. And if it was Chinook, the lights would have been a lot smaller. And it didn't matter what it was up, it's smaller, and you would have heard it.
Well, that's why I said about it going from from east to west, because that's coming in. It's coming in. It's coming in off the North Sea.
Yeah, it came in from the coast. It came in from right to left. So yeah, east to west.
So unless it was something carrying something underneath it with lights on it, they've got no reason to be travelling like that in that particular fashion at night time.
Well, the thing is when I'm doing, I can't say where it is or anything because of work, but when I'm doing a patrol, because I do security, when I'm doing patrol in that area, I always stop up there and just wait there for a little bit, because sometimes we get a little bit of trouble up in that particular bit, and I just stay there, so that if anything comes on the radio, I can go straight down there. But I always keep the cliff to my right, directly north in front of me, and I keep Staxon to my left. And there's only been the odd occasion where I've had the van parked the other way around with Staxon in front of me. In fact, when I did that video of that light in the sky going across, and it was going across top of the van, and by the time I got out of the van and lifted my camera up to get it, it went boom back out the sea. The van was facing Staxon Wold then. So and that thing, the light I was watching came in from the over the edge of the cliff, over the coast. It came in, stopped, and then went that way. The light I was watching came in from the sea, came in over the edge of the cliff, and then was just hovered there for about 5-10 minutes. It was just hovering there, and then again I think I was uploading the video actually onto Facebook, and I looked up and it gone. So I don't know where it went, don't know which direction, because I was too busy going, oh, look at this, and then looked up, gone.
No, it's definitely is an interesting. That was an interesting video. But like I said, at first I said it looked like a Chinook, but I know Chinook lights aren't green.
No.
The only time I've ever known the lights inside something like that have been green is when they're doing a drop, and I'm talking about an airdrop. So like skydiving.
When the rear doors are open, it's green.
Yeah, it only goes green when it's ready to drop.
Yeah.
Normally it's either a red or a plain white. It starts off as white normally while you're in flight, then it goes to red for a no jump, and then green for a jump, and then everybody piles out the back.
Yeah. So
that's the only time the lights would ever be green. So if it was a Chinook, you'd be expecting people to be jumping out the back, and you wouldn't be doing that at night time.
There was nothing.
So I'm like, no, that can't be a Chinook. That can't be. But I noticed the white light underneath it, and it was travelling along with it.
Yeah.
And that sort of made me think again about what it possibly could be.
From Staxon, and I kept looking over at Staxon, and Staxon very, very rarely puts its runway lights on or anything unless there's something big coming. And I've only ever known Staxon once in 2 years have all the lights lit up and everything, and that was a few weeks ago. And I can't. What the hell was it that came in? I think it was like it was a load of Hercules came in with a load of equipment. And that's the only time I've ever seen it. But as I say, if I'm sat here looking directly north, that thing was right in front of me, just come over the edge of the cliff. To the right you've got the edge of the cliff and the sea, and to the left you've got Staxon Wold. Oh yeah, Staxon Wold. So
yeah,
but yeah, so I don't know what it was, but anyway, back to Murmur. There's all this shit that's going on with Project Bluebeam and everything that's going on. So many sightings, so much disinformation, so much propaganda, lies, bullshit, corruption that's going on in Bobhams and stuff. You don't know what's real anymore. You don't know what's real. And I've noticed AI is almost, hello Mrs. Wayne, almost got to the point where you can't tell. You can still tell what's AI because the colors look weird and it just doesn't look right. But even the morphing of the fingers and maybe I'm AI, maybe even the morphing of the fingers and everything like that, even that's starting to go now. So it's getting harder and harder to tell. And I use Grok and Chat sometimes to check things as well. And there is a way of getting Grok and Chat to answer you honestly. You have to keep telling it to stop the bullshit.
Yeah.
Eventually it does.
I mean, AI always. Oh, McDonald. I watched a TikTok this morning that had me in hysterics because I spotted it straight away. And it was an Airbus A380 taken off from the world's smallest airport. And I'm like, there is no way an A380 is taken off. I think is it St Martin's or something like that.
I know what you mean.
It's a really diddy runway,
For it.
and
He struggles with the jumbos, and those Airbuses are like fucking 20 times bigger than the biggest jumbo.
You see it going down the runway, and it gets to the far end, and it starts turning. Only the front wheels have come off the tarmac and gone into the ground, right? And you could still see the wheels on top of the ground surface. And I'm like, the weight of that would have churned that ground up, and it would have stopped.
Yeah.
There's no way that would have gone any further. But it didn't. It carried on going round, and I'm like, right, the wing's now just been ripped off because it's hit the hillside.
Yeah.
Because of the wingspan. And then, surprise, surprise, as it came round and was facing the camera, you could see where the AI could not keep up with the idea that the engines are spinning.
Yeah.
So you could see these flashes coming from the engine where it was glitching, because it was trying to keep up with the fact that it had to spin these fans.
Yeah.
So all 4 engines are sitting there flashing away, and I'm like, seriously? And then, of course, it went to take off. And no word of a lie, if it had actually been an A380 that had landed there in the first place, which would have been a miracle, because there was no way that runway was long enough. If it had taken off, it would have literally scraped its arse end into the floor and ditched into the ocean.
Yeah.
And there were people that actually believed it. And they're scrolling through the comments, and they were going, "Oh my God, when was this?"
They were. That's what I was on about. When you get all the bullshit and disinformation, you will get like, and I don't mean it in a rude way. There are some gullible people, but there's also some of it so good it's quite hard to tell. But you will get people going, you know, and
I think that's just Microsoft Flight Simulator. The actual program now has got so good.
There's loads of them now out floating about all over social media saying, "Oh, look at this! I filmed this. I fucking didn't." No,
and with high-end graphics cards, you are gonna get some seriously good graphics out of it. Yeah. But in reality, if you look at it, you know full well an A380 is not going to be able to take off from that runway.
Yeah.
Reality, you know, even a 737 probably wouldn't have enough room to take off from that runway. Yeah. It's not appropriately long enough to take it. But people do believe it. They go, "Oh, what a pilot. Oh, that must be one of the best pilots in the world." And you're like, yeah, the pilot was Microsoft.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, one of my favorite jobs I'd love to do, if I was younger and I'd love to be a bloody drone operator for the RAF. I'd absolutely love that job. I'd kill at it. I'm an awesome bloody drone operator on my game, so I'd be like,
Well, you see, this is the good thing about technology now, and this is what we've been saying about how the technology is decades ahead, because we look at a remote controlled aircraft or a drone, and it's limited to how far it can go. And yet you go to RAF Marham, and there are drone operators sitting in a room operating drones that are thousands of miles away.
Yeah, it's awesome. But again, like I said, and this brings us back to everything we've just been talking about Atlas 3i, Oumuamua, Swan, everything. You've got the Bobbermans that put all these fucking billion-pound things up into space that not only look at other planets and stuff, but also watch our own and spy on things over here. They've got cameras on there that can zoom, into a laptop from, I think it was something like 7,500 miles away or some shit like that, and they can zoom into a thing like that and read what's on it. But of course, they can't take a photograph of a fucking alleged comet that's 30 miles long because their cameras turn into potatoes. You know, and they've got all these sensors that can tell us there's a planet out there that has life on it that's giving off carbon dioxide, and it's filmed artificial lights on this planet. But it can't film this comet. It can't film Swan, which is supposed to be 30 times bigger than the 30-mile long comet.
Their cameras can even record the ripples on the sun, and yet it can't record 3i Atlas.
Yeah. Oh, and that was another thing with 3i Atlas. You know what you're saying about the coronal mass ejection?
Yeah.
It ate it. It hit the comet, whatever the fuck it is. It hit it and it ate it. It was absorbed into it. Now,
Well, it would do, because if you look at UFOs that went to the RAF Bentwaters, a beam of light went down and took the energy out of the missiles.
yeah, yeah.
So 3i Atlas would be doing something similar. The coronal mass ejection, it has literally spewed energy at 3i Atlas, and 3i Atlas has gone, thank you very much, we've got an energy boost.
What was that Stargate series about the ship? They found an ancient ship.
Hi, Tom.
You're right, Tom.
Pickle Tom.
Gary is a friend of mine I've known for fucking donkey's years, and he's down in Somerset. He's from London. He's a big bald geezer, like myself. I ain't seen you for a long, long time. I hope you and your family are all well. Yeah, there was an app. I can't remember what it's called. Stargate Continuum. It was about the ship that they found, and it was the makers of the Stargates. It was the same people. It was their ship. Basically, the ship steered itself directly into the sun, and everybody on board was shitting themselves and panicking, and this and the other thought they were going to die, and it didn't. Stargate Universe, thank you, Nika. It went in, sealed itself away from the heat and everything, and it basically recharged its batteries with the sun's mass ejection and everything.
Which
like
is
that.
what they reckon happened with the Oumuamua when it went round the sun. It was recharging itself, because no sooner did it come round from the other side of the sun, it sped up. So it got the energy it needed from the sun, and off it went.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Gary, I will send you a message at some point. I've got the remember what we're doing next year in September. That you're coming to?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to invite Gary in that one.
I had to think then.
Yeah. So,
I'm just growing a cat out the side of my head.
I got two. Hang on. I have got. I'll get the bloody camera. I have got the Bobster and the Lilo.
Yes, Nico, that is correct. Yeah, a lot of UFO activity has been centered around active volcanoes because of the energy that's being given off.
But also those ones that are centered around volcanic activity. There's supposed to be some that are filmed just coming in and out of them all the time. Are they the ones to do with the people that went under the crust of the earth and moved underneath there when we?
You mean the subterranean dwellers?
Dwellers. The ones that went down there when Thingy blew up the city, and it caused a mass tidal wave that wiped everything out. Atlantis, when Atlantis blew, because apparently what do they call it? If you look into the legends and the scrolls, they called them ant people. They came out. Oh no, Native American legends as well. The ant people came out and led some of the human civilization under the ground, and they lived under there, and their tech and everything is way better than anything we've got now. So they reckon that a lot of the UFOs that you see, you hear that dog in the background, they reckon that's what that is. So
I mean, oddly enough, I was watching the film Greenland.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. And it got me thinking that what if the Greenland scenario happened before?
I reckon it did.
We as people were on the surface, and the mass extinction event occurred.
We triggered loads of them.
Some of us went subterranean to get out of the way of it and all the fallout. The impact happened. Everything calmed down. Life continued. Humankind started again. But the people that stayed underground continued as they were with their current technology. And now we're at the stage we're at. We're now technically inferior to them, and they've got the technology that we haven't.
Look at all these subterranean cities that have been found. There was that massive one was it Malta or Turkey that was found under the ground? It's got like loads of levels, and you can see people lived there for a very long time, but they have no clue, no idea about whoever the hell it was who lived there. They just upped and left one day. But it's the same as all the evidence has been over the thousands of years of nuclear attacks on our own land. of mass energy weapons striking the ground, nuclear weapons striking the ground, because it's got residual nuclear energy in it. You know, it's the same on Mars. There's evidence of nuclear attacks that's been on Mars, but from millions of years ago. And again, when you read the holy books like the Mahabharata and stuff like that, every single fucking holy book talks about a war between the angels and demons, which I think is a war between two factions of aliens. And that the evidence is there in the ground now. We've still got it where the nuclear strikes have hit, and that's what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. They think they found Gomorrah, I think it is, and it was just wiped out. But they found radiation in the ground from where it all hit. So, you know, I think the evidence is all there waiting for us. But because we've had the truth twisted so many times over the millennia by the church to start with, because they were the reigning Bobermans, and now the Bobermans as well, and the Vatican still. You need to do your own looking into it, your own research, because the truth's there. It's all there. Like, you look at the Renaissance paintings and stuff. You look at the Dead Sea Scrolls. You look at the Emerald Scrolls of Thoth. They all talk about visitors from other planets. You know, like I said, the Renaissance paintings. There's UFOs in the Renaissance paintings, and they all go, no, it's suns. No, it fucking isn't. One of them is a painting of a battle that took place in the sky over Verona, and it was a battle between warring factions of visitors. You know, and it wasn't just one person that saw it and painted it. It was done lots and lots of times. But no, it was just.
And that's why you've got the likes of the Book of Enoch and the Book of Mary Magdalene being removed from the Bible, because it stops that control. Yep. The control is hindered by causing a difference of opinion with the narrative. So you have the Book of Enoch, which actually explains about the Anunnaki and the Nephilim, and the fact that Enoch is one of them.
He talks about what the Earth looks like from space. Back then, no fucker knew what the Earth looked like from space.
So you can't have something like that in a book for the followers if that's going to contradict everything else that the book is saying. Mary Magdalene was removed simply because they didn't want people, the faith that was male-led, having a female figure in the Bible, which could cause people to go following Mary Magdalene. So those two books were removed simply because of the wrongness that it would create, and it wouldn't have created the control that they wanted. Because
I mean, back then, well, when you look at like how the Vatican was, it was the ultimate power, and they had popes that were in charge of all these things, but they had popes that were Borgias. That's where you get bourgeoisie from, bougie. And the Borgias were just corrupt as fuck, and they were having orgies and sex and fucking shagging donkeys and doing whatever the fuck they wanted, having people killed and this, that, and the other. And they were popes or high up bishops and this, that, and the other. And they were well known for it, you know. But of course, no, they didn't do anything like that. It's all been hushed up. And all the evidence they had back then of everything that was going down is in the vaults, the Vatican vaults. It's all there. All the stuff that we need, all the stuff that you guys need, your proof of people before us, precursors, aliens, our cousins from other planets and stuff like that. All the evidence is there. Look for it yourself. Ignore what the Bobermans are bloody well saying. Ignore what the naysayers are saying. Weed out the ones that work for the Boberman or have been paid by them. You'll start getting to the truth. That's what we have to do.
In answer to Richard's question, if demons are aliens, do you think possession is real? I don't think there is anything as demons. No. You've got angels and demons as they're portrayed in the holy books. However, if you look at the Sumerian texts, which predates the Bibles, whether it's the Bible, the Quran, a lot of the holy books that are out there, they're not demons and angels.
No.
They are the good or the bad of the Nephilim and Anunnaki. And they are then portrayed as the angels and the demons, the good and the bad. And it's because society has labelled them angels and demons, courtesy of the Bible, and the removal of such books like the Book of Enoch. They then get portrayed as angels and demons, and so the people that follow the faiths are saying they're angels and demons. I personally don't think possession is real. I think it is just a state of mind of that person at that individual time.
I think, because we've discussed this at length about angels and demons and stuff. Right, my take on it, and we've spoken about this, is I do think when you die, that is not the end. You do cross over. There is something else, but I think you ascend. Don't know. Nobody can be an expert in it. Anybody that says they're an expert in it is talking out their fucking ass, unless they died for years and then got resurrected. I think back then, when religion was first being made, there was shit going on. We had people here from other planets, but they had technology we couldn't understand. We probably still can. We can understand it now, but we'd never be able to match it at the moment. So back then, because they had all this technology, and they could appear to the various cultures at the time in guises that those cultures would understand. That's why you get the different types of gods from different cultures. But if you look at the Parthenon of gods, which is like the grouping of gods, not a god singular, because a god singular was started off by bloody Egyptian pharaoh being a knob, but gods plural, which I still think there was, but I don't think it's what you think it is. The gods plural were beings with vast tech. They could change the way they look with, I don't know, hologram shit like that, so that people from the different cultures wouldn't freak out, flip out, and scream, and So I reckon, because the Parthenon is the same, you get one head god, you get the same number of gods that do the same jobs in every single culture. You got the same head god, different name, does the same thing, has the same powers. Then you got every single one down, the gods of the harvest, gods of the moon, gods of the blood, gods of the hunt, this, that, and the other. They have the same powers, the same weapons, and it's the same Parthenon, but they just appear to different cultures in guise that those cultures would understand. And I think that's what angels and demons were, or are, because I think they're possibly still about, but they're just in different guises now. They probably look like us now. And I think that when you read the holy books and you see, like I said, you see about the fights that happened in their chariots with flaming tails and this, that, and the other. It was ships in the sky shooting each other. And the closest one that tells the truth is the Mahabharata, because it talks about the Vimanas, which was the god's ships, and it tells you how to build a Vimana, tells you it runs off Mercury, tells you it has weapons that are energy striking weapons that just eviscerate anything it touches. And that to me says nuclear, and there's still nuclear energy in the ground in Asia from where it hit thousands of years ago.
I was going to say there's also the area in India where they went to build the foundations for a building site, and they found the glass, the radioactive glass under the ground.
Yeah.
And that they said that couldn't have happened. And when they dated back how far down they'd gone, because obviously the further down in the ground, the further back in time you go, that's why we have to dig so many feet down before we can get to any Roman relics.
That's right.
So they've gone down and they've discovered that there's these big chunks of glass that could have only happened from high intense heat.
That's right.
And they've looked at it, carbon dated it, and gone, well, hang on a minute, this predates when mankind was making glass.
Bingo.
So if it's before man predated, no volcanic action or anything in that area has ever been recorded. So unless there was a volcano or a lava flow in that area, which, as far as their historical books are concerned, there was never anything nearby that area at the time.
Yep.
So this glass was made through a high energy weapon or high amount of energy that has turned the sand into glass, and it's been forgotten about.
Look at all the
recently.
Yeah, look at all the outer place artifacts that are found, and they're now finding more and more and more that are dating back millions of years. We are not the first humans. We are humans 2.0, 3.0, whatever. When you read the scrolls, when you read the Emerald Scrolls and everything like that, it talks about the Anunnaki, and all Anunnaki means back in, I think, it's Babylonian times, it was their language. It just means visitors from space, or space cousins, or whatever. That's what it means, is people from space. But when the Anunnaki came, they took the native hominid, and they're talking before humans first appeared. They took the native hominid, which was some type of ape, spliced their own DNA into it, kept doing it, and then they put the female goddess, I can't remember her name, took the first embryo, the first Adamu, carried it full term, and the first Adamu, Adam, was born into Eden or Eden, which was a lab. It was in Africa, and it was a lab in Africa. So Adam, Adamu, Eden, Eden, and that's where you get it all from. And then they
that's why Africa is known as the cradle of life,
because they found the oldest known cousin to humans there. But when you read the scrolls, they talk about how they made us, and then they kept altering us and kept altering us and kept altering us and changing the DNA. There's even the scientific papers out there that says you can see where our DNA was genetically altered over a course of 20,000 years, which in evolutionary terms is that. But over 20,000 years, our DNA was altered so much that we went from knuckle dragging, shitting in our hands and going to, I say, old bean, do you like my farm? You know, which in 20,000 years is nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at how long it took the dinosaurs to evolve.
You know,
same planet, different genetics, but it took millions of years for the dinosaurs to evolve, and yet it took us hardly no time at all.
So I'm just reading what Irene said. There's an old burial site where my mother's relatives were buried. It looks like a key, and it's very well known, but my mother's family said no. What is buried there? We don't know about it, and no permit would be granted. You wonder why? I think there's a lot more hidden away.
Could that be something to do with tradition, though?
Because if I remember rightly, you guys are Shinto, aren't you? I think it's Shinto. If that's wrong, I apologize. But I think you're Shinto religion, aren't you? But from knowing about quite a bit about Japanese legends and things, there's supposed to have been aliens there. There's supposed to have been a lady that turned up in a cylindrical boat that was made out of seamless metal, which was way before anything they had. There's lots and lots of legends of people from other planets being there and being under the ground and doorways and this, that, and the other. Same as Ireland. That's got the same.
But it's a thing, though, isn't it? Because it doesn't matter which culture you look at. If you look at that culture's history and its beginnings, it all revolves near enough around the same thing. You know, there's always mysterious beings.
Yep.
And over the years, and again, it's all down to this control system that these beings have been altered in some way or another to make out to be good or bad, aliens or demons, so on and so forth. It all revolves around the same thing. It's all about control, changing the narrative, making you believe there's something there that may or may not have been, but look completely different or would have been completely different in the day. And you look at the things like the Aztecs, the Egyptians, you look at the Aborigines in Australia, all of those cultures in their history showed beings from another world. Way before we were able to document them.
Look at pre-dynastical Egypt, before the first dynasty. Their gods, they state that the gods came from out there, and they came from another planet. They came down there, and they built the city out of the mud, and that corroborates what Thoth said in the Emerald Scrolls. He says that they built the city out of the mud, you know. And what I'll leave everybody with, because I've just seen the time, we are just over. We started late, that's why I've gone on for a bit. Out of place artifacts, radiation strikes in Asia and Africa and various other places that have been measured to 1, 2, 3, 4 million years old. Depleted uranium that's been found just outside of Russia, that's 1.5 million years old. You only get depleted uranium through man-made processing. You cannot get it in nature. It's only done by a processing process. And they think they found the remains of a 1 million-year-old energy generator power station, again in Russia, near where this depleted uranium was found. You know, and there's more and more stuff coming to light about. We're not the first ones. We are not the first ones here. There was a paper I read recently. They found fossilized human footprints on the same plateau as fossilized dinosaur footprints, and that's mainstream. You can look it up. So if we're only, and they weren't chimp ones, they weren't hominids, they were human footprints. that were found on the same plateau, fossilized alongside dinosaur footprints. So I think pretty much all our prehistory, a lot of it is a lie. We're taught lies in school, and it's been hidden. We've reached, as I said at the beginning of the show, we've reached that plateau now where everything's starting to crumble. All the lies are starting to fall apart, and all the bobberments know this.
Yeah, because if you look at schools nowadays, there are certain parts of history that we were taught in school that the children nowadays aren't being taught.
Yep.
Because it goes against the narrative.
Yep. So, and I'll give you an example of Parthenons of gods. Thor, was it Odin and Thor?
Yep.
Zeus and Ares and that lot. Look at the weapons. Look at the weapons. Look at what they did. Look at how their personalities were. Compare the Greek ones to the Viking ones, the Nordic ones. Fucking identical. And then you start to see the similarities, and then start comparing them to the other ones. Forget what the other gods look like, just the personalities and the tools they use and the weapons they use, and you'll start to see exactly what I'm on about. When my mum was alive, she wouldn't tell me secrets about her relatives, and I got more questions. I'm not bloody surprised. I'd have been asking left, right, and centre about that. I'd have been like, oh, because I know in a lot of the Japanese religions and lore, L-O-R-E, there's so many things that go unanswered there. Irene, you're going to have to come back on the show one day if you fancy that, and talk about the laws and legends and UFOs that go on over there. Yep, we're going to have to bubble me off.
I got a question came through in my chat. That's not a cross.
That's a scream head.
Yeah, from a distance it looks like a cross, but it's not. It's a scream head. So.
Yeah. No, the scream mask, you know, it's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It glows in the dark.
Look, what you do in your sex life, mate, it's entirely up to you. It's not for the air. You know, I don't want to know about that.
So I can read without the lights on.
Are you using that as a bookmark?
Just go, meep. You read line at a time.
Anyway, on that note, we're out of here. Remember to join. I actually did the show without coffee. I got to the edge and started coughing.
Join.
We're back next Monday. 9:30, and we'll be here every single Monday. Lynn, we're going. You missed it. You're
typical, isn't it? Lynn joins at the last minute, just as we're about to leave.
Naughty. It's 9:30. It starts, not 10:30. I think Adam might be watching as well. So if you're Adam, I work with him. Good guy. Likes this sort of stuff. I hope you enjoy the show, mate. So yeah, we'll be back next week. Take it easy, Gary. Message me, and I'll message you about something. Yeah. We'll be back every Monday, 9:30. To be honest, regardless of illness and stuff, I think because we need to get this back in. We need to get the show back up and running every single Monday. So, yeah, we'll be back. I'm going to try and get another decent camera. This was an expensive camera. That doesn't make me look like a potato. So, yeah. Anyway, see you later. Keep your eyes to the skies. And remember, if you look below, please email us at the Dark Mirror Radio Show at yahoo.co.uk. Or you can get hold of either myself or Wayne. That says the views expressed in the show. You can get hold of either myself or Wayne. And remember, there's Josh, because although he works all the time and everything, he's still a member of the show. And hopefully one day he'll come back on the show again. So I hope so. So message either of us, email us there. Remember the Dark Mirror Radio Show at yahoo.co.uk. Or just message us on any of the social media that you find with us on the outlet, because we're on pretty much everything. So keep your eyes, guys. Remember to message us, send us any questions. We will see you all next week. And I've got to play us out of here now. So have you got anything you want to say?
Microwave.
Right.
Good night, everybody.
We'll see you later, guys. Bye-bye.